I strongly believe in the idea of Christians owning property. The world is better off with Christians in positions of financial strength, and cash flowing property can do just that. My friend Steve has built a substantial real estate portfolio here in New Hampshire, and now he's teaching Christian brothers to do the same. Go to consultingbycurios.com. He's got options where he coaches you through buying your first rental property or done-for-you options for busy people. Again, visit consultingbycurios.com. The link is in the description. All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, November 25th, year of our Lord, 2025. Today was the day that we were supposed to get the anticipated response of Tobias. And, I haven't seen it yet. The day's not over. It's nighttime, I think, in Germany. But, hey, he could still release it at night. I don't know. So we'll wait. We'll see what happens. I've heard that it takes quite a bit of effort to translate the words "I'm sorry" from the German. And so, hey, listen, you got to give the guy a little bit of space. You know what I mean? It's been weeks, but, it could take a while. So we'll see. We'll see. And so today's video is not about that, unfortunately, but it will include some information about the content of the Antioch Declaration, which I cannot and will not be signing. Even as you are doing the very thing you're accusing them of doing. Don't understand it, don't get it, thought that was interesting. Now let's move on. Let's move into the Antioch Declaration. And like I said, I'm not going to go into line by line. There's something I could quibble with almost every part of this document. I think it's a silly document. I think it's laughable. In fact, I said that in the last video. And then I come to find out Doug Wilson claims that the last affirmation is a joke, the one about Aristotle. I said in the last video it was laughable, so I guess I kind of got the joke, but I also didn't get the joke. And I also think that there's a part of this joke that's serious, almost like every joke, right? Every joke has a serious part and a laughable part. And so, I mean, excuse me, that if I don't take this really all that seriously, if you're including jokes in the affirmation, I'm not offended by it. I mean, I'm offended that it insults my intelligence because I thought I was reading a document that was serious, and it's an offense to my intelligence to include a joke. Now, I didn't know it was a joke like that, like an intentional joke. I just thought it was a joke because it was ridiculous. But it turns out it's just a funny ha-ha joke in the middle of a very serious document. I mean, I'm not going to take that seriously. It's an insult to my intelligence. I'm offended. But anyway, that's not really what we're here to talk about. Well, I'm going to talk about the stuff with Judaism and the Jews. These are two denials that I think that are this is really where the rubber meets the road, I think, for this declaration. And I think that the expectation is, how could any reasonable Christian not deny these things with us? Well, I am known for my textbook, trademarked, patented reasonableness. And so I'll explain why. So I'm going to read them both, and then I'll talk about why I do not deny them along with the Antioch Declaration collaborators. Quote, "We deny that Jews are in any way uniquely malevolent or sinful, that Judaism in its multifarious expressions is objectively more dangerous than other false religions, or that it represents an exceptional threat to Christianity and Christian peoples. By nature, the Jews are objects of wrath, just like the rest of us, which is condemnation enough, and are equally recipients of God's grace. We deny that world affairs are governed by conspiring Jews, or that there is a global Jewish conspiracy to corrupt and destroy Western society. I do not deny those things. And so let me explain why. So let me start off by saying I don't hate Jews. In fact, I'm friends with many Jews, and I've been friends with Jews almost my entire life. Now, that being said, I cannot agree to either of these denials. And so let's go with the first one, right? We deny that Jews are in any way uniquely malevolent or sinful, or that Judaism in its multifarious expressions is objectively more dangerous than other false religions, or that it represents an exceptional threat to Christianity or Christian people. So that's very nice that you deny that, but I am not willing to deny that. Here's why. So when I read this, I remember talking to my wife about this, and she gets upset about this kind of stuff, but she asked, so we talked about it. I don't like bringing this kind of drama to her, but she wanted to know about this, and so this is what we talked about. The first thing I said to myself is, well, there's two things that I know are true, right? Number one, not every religion is equally dangerous or evil. We could rank them if we wanted to. Now, obviously, it's hard to do that because I don't have the brain power for that kind of calculation. I don't know anyone really who does, but it's not the case that all religions are the same in terms of how dangerous they are. They're all evil. They'll all send you to hell. If you've got a false religion, by definition, it's a false religion. If you believe it and you don't repent of it and believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, you're going to hell. Simple as that. But if there's a wacko lady that worships the Christmas tree in the center of Keene, New Hampshire that's set up there, that's not really that dangerous to me. I mean, it's malevolent. It's evil. She shouldn't be worshiping that tree, but it really has nothing to do with me, and I don't have to really spend any mental energy worrying about it. She's not going to convince my kids to worship the tree. She's not going to corrupt my kids by worshiping that tree. Now, maybe if she got a bigger following and became a major religion, okay, maybe we'd have something, but it's just not the case, right? And so obviously that's not as dangerous as, say, Islam, right? That's not as dangerous as, say, Hinduism. And so we can see it when we have, big disparities between the danger, right? But what about the major world religions? Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism. Let's say we were ranking these religions on how dangerous they are, right? I think even with major religions, some are more evil than others. Some are more dangerous than others. Some are more threatening to Christianity than others. That is an obvious fact. And so if I were to deny, along with the signers of the Antioch Declaration, that Judaism would be more dangerous than any other false religion, what I'm essentially doing is saying, I'm taking Judaism out of that conversation. It's off the table. So no matter how you rank them, you better not put Judaism as number one. And I'm not going to do that. It certainly seems to me that you'd have to be privileging Judaism in order to accept this denial. Judaism is off the table if you accept this denial. And that would be a privileged position because no other false religion would have that privileged position. And I can easily see people making arguments as to why Judaism is uniquely malevolent or uniquely sinful or more dangerous than other religions. I can see arguments like that. And it doesn't even have to require you to understand things that are written in the Talmud. Like the things that are written in the listen, I've read the Quran, I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read some other religious books, the Book of Mormon, stuff like that. And they're all evil. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I've never read anything so explicitly antichrist as what I've read in the Talmud. Explicitly antichrist. I've read some evil stuff, but explicit antichrist doctrines, that belongs to the Talmud itself. So I could easily see someone making an argument with the Talmud and saying, oh, see, clearly, that's the one. But you don't even have to know about the Talmud, to be honest. I've heard arguments like this where it goes, a religion's more dangerous if it's closer to the truth. So let's say you don't even consider the Talmud and you just say, well, Judaism is closer to the truth because it's the Old Testament, right? I mean, they're so close and yet it's still not right. They reject the Messiah. And so it's more dangerous because it's more insidious. It's closer to the real thing. And therefore, it's more dangerous. I could see someone making an argument like that as well. I don't necessarily make that argument. In fact, I wouldn't even know how to rank these. I understand the arguments for saying that Judaism is more insidious than Islam or more threatening to the church than Islam. I've heard those arguments before, and I've heard convincing arguments the other way, that Islam is more dangerous and stuff like that. And honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I would rank them, but I'm sure of one thing. I am not going to privilege Judaism by taking it off the table, taking it out of the ranking. I'm not going to do that. I don't understand why anyone would. So I don't deny, along with the writers of the Antioch Declaration or statement or whatever, I don't deny that Judaism, in its multifarious expressions, is objectively more dangerous than other false religions. I don't. And then the first part about the Jews are in any way uniquely malevolent or sinful. I don't deny that either. And it's for similar reasonings, right? Now, if all this is saying is they don't have any absolutely unique sins, right? Absolutely unique sins. So if someone were saying like, Jews are behind every murder and no other ethnic group murders, well, obviously that's not true. Every ethnic group has their murderers. Every ethnic group has their people that commit usury. Every ethnic group has. So in an absolute sense, I would agree. But I'm not going to accept the fact that we can't assign an ethnic group with a tendency towards particular sins. That's not to say that all people in that ethnic group have these particular sins, but it's apparent to me that you could look at certain ethnic groups and say, man, there's some real problems that, yeah, they are present in other ethnic groups as well, but it certainly seems to be an exceptionally big problem in this particular ethnic group. Like when James White was noticing about that black kid, and he was kind of fantasizing about the fact that there's a pretty good chance he doesn't know his father, he's referencing particular sins that are prevalent in the African-American community in the United States. I don't want to take Jews off that list either. I'm not going to privilege Jews in that way. So I don't want to take off the table any discussion about the various sin proclivities of the Jewish population in the United States. I'm just not willing to do that. Now, I'm not making any arguments about it, but I'm not willing to take them out of that conversation. I'm not sure why anyone would be. Why would I be required to privilege the one ethnic group of Jews in this conversation, or the one religion of Judaism in this conversation? Why would I privilege them in that way? I don't see any reason why I would do that, and so I'm not going to do it. I do not deny these two things. Now, am I saying that Jews are the most sinful people ever, and no one's ever, accomplished the sins that Jews have had? I'm not saying that. But I also don't want to anathematize the Bible itself, who says a very particular subsection of Jews calls them the enemies of humankind. The enemies of mankind. I don't know why I said humankind. I don't know. My brain just got taken over right there. So anyway, I'm not taking them out of the conversation here. And the way this declaration is written is, no, you can't even talk about that. You can't even talk about that. And I'm not willing to do that. The second one, we deny that world affairs are governed by conspiring Jews, or that there's a global Jewish conspiracy to corrupt and destroy Western society. Again, I'm not going to deny that. I don't know. I don't know that there's a global Jewish conspiracy, and I also don't know what qualifies to the signers of the Antioch Declaration of what qualifies as a global Jewish conspiracy, because I do know some things. I do know some things that smell an awful lot like a conspiracy. Some of them are run by Jews. Jews are involved, and it's pretty global. Now, I don't know if it qualifies. The George Soros Foundation or the Open Societies Foundation, does that qualify? Because I'm not thinking, because this is the thing. I think what they're trying to say is that there's no cabal of Jews that everyone's aware of, and everyone's part of it, and so you always got to be suspicious of anyone with a Jewish last name. If that's what it was saying, I'd deny that as well. I don't think there's a room of cigar-smoking Jews with their fellow Jews saying, all right, fellow Jews, what are we going to do to destroy Western society today? I don't think that. I don't question my Jewish friends, and I say, look, man, tell me right now, what are you guys up to? Tell me. I want to know. I'm your friend. Tell me what you're up to. I don't do that. So if that's what it was saying, I could deny that, but I'm not going to deny this the way it's written. What qualifies as conspiring, right? What if some Jews in Hollywood decided to conspire with some financiers to make movies to corrupt Western society? Do they have to know that they're purposely corrupting Western society, or if they're doing it by accident, does that count? How much collusion is required? How much foresight is required for this kind of denial to be valid? I don't know. I mean, again, does George Soros count? I mean, I know about George Soros. Does that count? I mean, there's a lot of Jews in banking, and, banking tends to fund a lot of things that seem to be destroying Western society. Does that count? Or does it have to be that everybody knows about it? Is that what it has to be like? That even the Jews on welfare, in various towns, do they have to know about it too? I mean, what qualifies here? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm not taking that off the table. Does this exist right now? Here's my answer. I don't know. but I'm not going to sign a statement that takes that off the table out of hand. What if there wasn't one now and then one arose? I've signed this statement. I'm committed now to the fact that there is no global Jewish conspiracy. Talk about protecting your flank. It's like, well, we can't, one of the earlier things that was said in this document was like, we can't do the no enemies to the right thing, because then all you're doing is just, signaling to Satan where his next attack should come from. Well, if you're taking Judaism and a global Jewish conspiracy just off the table completely, how are you not signaling to Satan, well, let's start launching a Jewish global conspiracy. Let's start attacking the church through Judaism. If you're taking it off the table as a uniquely malevolent or especially dangerous threat to the church, we can't even talk about it. It's not even in the conversation. You can talk about all those other religions, rank them all day long. Muslims are obviously worse than Hindus and stuff like that. Rank them all day long. Judaism's off the table. I see no reason to take Judaism off the table. And so, it's just, I can't sign it. Here's the thing. I have a lot of loyalty towards many of the collaborators of this document. Joseph Boot, I don't know very well. Jeff Durbin, I've got loyalty to him. James White, I've got loyalty to him. Sandlin, I know about him, but mostly because he used to just quote tweet Rush Dooney all the time. Tobias, I have no respect for. Doug Wilson, I've got a lot of loyalty to him. So I would love to agree and come alongside these guys to fight real problems, right? But the way they've written this and combine that with a lot of the other things that they've written, I'm just not able to deny these things. I don't like people who hate Jews. All right? So there, I said it. I don't like people who hate Jews. In fact, a lot of times when I see things that I don't really like to see, how do I put this? When I see people that certainly seem to me as very hateful towards Jews, I mute them. I don't want to see it anymore. You know what I mean? I've done that on Gab. I've done that on X. That's what I do because I don't like seeing that stuff. So I'd love to join you in fighting that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to do it with these kinds of denials. I think these kinds of denials, they're not right. So I'm not willing to take Judaism off the table in these kinds of conversations. That's really what I wanted to cover today, really. There's more, obviously, that I could say. Like I said, almost every single affirmation and denial, I could quibble with something, but I could still sign something that I'm quibbling with. A lot of this stuff goes beyond quibbling, though. And so, overall, there's just no way I'm going to sign this document. And so, bottom line, I don't recommend anyone sign it. I don't think you're stupid if you did, but I just don't know how you could deny this one and this one with a straight face. I think what you're doing is denying a vibe. That's what I think you're actually doing if you're denying these two things. I think you're not really denying what's actually said here, but you're denying a vibe. Because I don't think a lot of you guys are trying to privilege Judaism. At least that's not what you're trying to do, but these denials do. They privilege Judaism. It's out of the conversation completely. I don't think that's smart to do. I just don't. But I sympathize with denying the vibe. I do sympathize with that. I don't like seeing Nazi propaganda. I don't like seeing that stuff. But I'm also not willing to just, I see a little Nazi propaganda and write somebody off. Well, that's just a KKK, Nazi, Jew-hating, just throw epithets at them. I'm not willing to do that. How about whatever happened to treating people like human beings, like adults? Like I've never seen someone share like an unsavory meme, and the first reaction is, "Oh man, that's just an adolescent in his mom's basement that doesn't deserve any respect." Like, I mean, I guess maybe I have in the past, but I would never, like, after thinking about it, fire up the blog and write blog posts about it. Like, I don't know. Like, it seems to me that probably the right thing to do is to treat these people like human beings, like adults, and talk to them like human beings, like adults. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, call me crazy. I mean, maybe that's why I am the reasonable Latino, right? Very optimistic kind of guy. In any case, hope you found this video helpful. God bless.